Hello and welcome to the second series in my tutorial for Ableton Live 12. This will be my third attempt as the things I wanted to show today weren't working properly. So we're going to keep it simple.
Tutorial track for Ableton Live 12 data arrangement group.
And we're going to continue making this track. Now,
Start Nexus 1. Track headers preview 1 timeline 1 selected on 1 Nexus armed track 1 of 4.
what we're going to do,
Snap the grid off. Snap the grid on. Fixed grid off 1/2. Fixed grid on 1/16. 1/1/2 widen grid. 1/4 narrow grid. Nexus 2.3. Nexus 4.4. Play. Stop. Nexus 5.
like there.
1/8 narrow grid. 1/16 narrow grid.
And I'm going to continue recording this little piece until I've got enough to show you, because I want to add some drums, and today we're going to work on sidechaining in Ableton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the, if you remember, I have a complete control keyboard, an A61, and you'll remember that it has the record button on the keyboard itself. So I do have my computer keyboard here as well, but for this demonstration I'm going to be, and for ease of use, I'm going to be doing most, if not all, the recording from the keyboard itself. So I've got it set to where I want to start recording again, which is bar 5, and I'm just gonna play for a little bit until I have enough to add a beat to, and then we're going to work on sidechaining and possibly finishing the track today, or trying to finish the track today. So what do we remember from last video? Last video I took you through the UI and showed you the basic things on how to get around the UI and the various menu options that you might encounter. Some you may use more than others, but but today, because you have more of an understanding on how the UI works, I'm not going to be explaining too much about the UI today. What we are going to focus on is just recording and adding more tracks and sidechaining eventually. And eventually, if we keep going this way, we'll have the workings of a song. So let's begin. Helps if I put the metronome on while recording. Let's undo that and try again. This lag's throwing me off, sorry. We've got that. So now, we've got that recorded, but compared to the rest of the track, it's not going to be quantized. So, what do we do about that? Well,
Track headers preview 1 timeline 5 selected on 1 Nexus arm.
We select from the bar we started at to where it ends.
And Nexus 2 5 to 37.1.3 plus 1 clip selected.
Like that. So now,
Clip detail grouping. Clip nexus 2 1 grouping.
We make sure
1/32 1/16 widen grid.
that we're set to the right beat grid, if you remember from the last video, and we press Control U
Quantize.
to quantize it. So now
Play.
now we have that.
Stop.
So we've got that. All right. So now
Arrangement grouping. Timeline 5 to
I'll go back to the timeline.
start nexus 2 5.
Make sure that everything is unselected, because if we make any moves while everything is selected, you could end up moving it along the timeline to where you don't want it to be. So we don't want that. So
Start nexus 1.
we unselect everything by pressing escape, and then we move back to the beginning of the timeline. And we'll press escape to
Track headers preview 1 nexus arm expanded level 1.
go back to the track headers.
2 MIDI expanded level 1.
We have another MIDI track which we haven't done anything here with yet.
Disarm track 1 nexus arm track 2 MIDI.
So we'll arm that.
Browser grouping. Plugin list 41 items preview. Restream standalone. Restream stand reaches react refer reach react control recontrol waves collapse left search sonus refx delay native instruments refx still expanded. Nexus state item selected.
Let's go to Nexus again.
Nexus /2 nexus. Category list. All row 1 car at DRCH CL classic DL drum DR drums not selected row 10. Invoke DR drums.
Let's find
Presets list.
this one. This one should do
Tutorial track.
for a drum.
Arrangement grouping.
Okay. It's going to be a little hard to record drums, but because of the lag. But let's see how we go. I've got a drum track here. All right. Go back to the beginning, and we'll press record. Let's try that again. Okay. I didn't extend the other thing long enough, but it'll be enough to show you.
Clip detail grouping. Clip nexus 1 grouping. Select all.
So let's go. This is in
1/8 widen grid.
eighths. So let's
Quantize.
quantize this. You'll see. Now we have a drum track.
Metronome off.
So that'll be enough to show you.
Arrangement grouping. Track headers preview. 2 Nexus arms.
Let's add a
3 MIDI expanded level.
another MIDI track.
Device detail grouping.
And
Browser grouping. Plugin list. 44 items preview. Nexus data item selected. Disarm track 2
let's
next.
put another Nexus track on here.
Category list. All row 1 R. Add DL, CHCL, DL drums, DR drums not selected. Vote. DR drum presets.
And I'm going to use the same kit.
Tutorial track.
Because that is going to be, so not that, that is going to be, this sound is going to be our ghost track. And this is what you need for sidechaining. Sorry, my phone is talking. This is what you'll need for sidechaining. So, what is sidechaining? Sidechaining is when a signal gets fed through a compressor to trigger the volume drop or ducking of another signal. So, what do I mean by that? Well, sidechaining is just what it sounds like. It's chaining one signal to another, and that signal is triggering, that sidechain signal is acting as a hit to duck the compression, to duck the gain of the compressor. So that sound is going to act as a signal that gets fed into a compressor that ducks, so that turns down the volume of the other signal of this. So not the kit, but that sound.
Stop.
Every time this hits, it's going to duck down the sound. It's going to drop the volume of that sound so that it drops volume in time with everything else. Let me demonstrate. So I'm going to record this ghost signal, and see, the thing is, once I record it, I'm going to deactivate the track so we don't hear through the entire track, because that is what sidechaining is. You don't hear the signal that is actually ducking, or that is compressing the other signal. Compressing the other sound, I should say. You don't hear that sound. It acts as a silent, it's called a ghost track. So while I'm thinking about it, actually,
Arrangement grouping. Track headers preview. 3 Nexus arms.
I will
2 Nexus expand. 1 Nexus expanded level 1.
name,
Disarm track. 2 Nexus disarm track 1.
I'll name these
1
tracks,
Nexus expanded level 1. Track title bar edit select.
because I realised I didn't do that. And to rename a track, what you do is you press Control R. So you go to the track headers, you select the track you want to rename, and then you press, so you select it with your up and down arrows, and then you press Control R, and that renames the track. So we're going to call this one Lead. And remember, that is this. Excuse me.
Lead. 2 Nexus arms expanded level 1. Lead expanded level 1 disarm track.
That is, let's try that again, that is this. That is that sound.
Disarm track lead. 2 Nexus expanded level 1.
And we're going to call this
Arm
one
track 2.
drums, because that's what it is.
Track title bar edit selected. Not blank. Drums. 3 Nexus expanded. Disarm track drums. Arm track 3.
And this one is our ghost, so we're
Track
going to
title
call this
GM.
Ghost. So this one, remember, this sound here is what's going to be doing the side chaining. That's what's going to be hitting and controlling the side chain of that lead track. So let's record it. It's the same as any other track. You just highlight the track, you arm it, and you press record. So here we go. The metronome back on. And we want the ghost to hit 1, 2, 3 now. Okay. Now we have that ghost track recorded.
Flip detail grouping. Flip ghost 1 grouping.
So, of course, we need to quantize it. So, let's
1/8 white and grid. 1/4 white and grid.
drop this down to 4
Select all.
because it is hitting in 4/4 time. Select all.
Quantize.
Quantize.
Play.
And now, if you listen, I'll measure it again. That tick is the sound I used for the ghost. So that that's what I used. That is the sound I used for the ghost. But you're not going to hear that. Because after I've done what I'm just about to show you, you won't hear it.
Arrangement grouping. Track headers preview. Ghost armed.
So how do we stop us from hearing that track?
Disarm track.
I'll disarm it. So you don't have to disarm it. You can keep it armed, but I do, just for, whatever. So how do we stop us from hearing that track? Well, you can do it one of two ways, but I'm going to show you the easier way. One way is to go to
Ghost grouping.
the,
Input channel combo box. All channels collapsed. Input type com. Input monitor. Output type combo box. Main collapsed.
go to the output type,
Output channel combo box unavailable. Collapsed. Output type combo box. Main collapsed.
go to the output type,
4 audio. 5 audio. Sensor.
and go down to sends only. So you won't hear it if you do that. But the easier way to do it,
5 4 main.
we'll set that back to main.
Output channel combo box. Track activator. Checkbox checked.
We come down to this track activator. Now if I uncheck this box,
Not checked.
you won't hear.
Play.
You'll no longer hear the ghost track, as you'll see. I'll turn off the metronome
Metronome off.
again. And here it comes. Now that ghost track is still playing because if I
Checked.
reactivate it, there it is. Now if I deactivate
Not
it,
checked.
it's gone.
Checked.
Activated,
Not checked.
deactivated.
Stop.
But when it's deactivated, the track is still playing, you just don't hear it. It's as simple as that. Once that track has been deactivated, you do not hear it at all. It's like it's not even there. But it is, because the MIDI data, the MIDI information, all the notes are still triggering. You just don't hear the track. There's a much easier way to do things than having to go to the output and set it to sends only and having to screw around with outputs and stuff like that. You just deactivate the track, it's gone, but it isn't. The sound of it is gone, but the track itself is still there. Which is perfect because that's what we're going to use for our ghost track. Now, so what did I do? I started...
Output command input track arrange automation mode check log and track headers preview. Ghost. Yeah.
I I started on this track header, on the track headers thing, and I tabbed until I got to, so I
Drums ghost deactivated.
found, oh, and you'll notice now,
Drums expanded level 1. Lead expanded level 1.
all the rest of the tracks are activated, so you can hear them. But when we hit the ghost track,
Ghost deactivated expanded level.
it tells you the status of the track. It's deactivated, so you don't hear it. But how did I do that? Well, I started on the track headers, and I tabbed across until I got to, so I tabbed past all the...
Ghost grouping. Input type combo box all in collapsed. Input channel combo box all monitoring grouping. Auto radio button checked. Output type combo box name collapsed. Output channel combo box unavailable collapsed. Track activator checkbox not checked.
You see that button, track activator? Right now it says track activator checkbox not checked because it is deactivated. If I was to check that box, it would be activated and you would hear the ghost track. But in this case, that's not what we want to do. We want to keep that deactivated and set up the sidechaining on the lead track.
Output monitor input type combo track headers preview ghost.
You can sidechain anything you want. So theoretically, you could sidechain the drums, but there is no point in doing that because, well, it would sound kind of weird.
Drums expand lead expanded level.
So I'm half tempted just to try it, but I'm not going to do that in this video. I might mess around with that on off stream, off camera. So, how do we sidechain? Well, we find
Drums lead expanded level.
we find the track we want to sidechain. In this case, lead. And remember, rename your tracks. Always name your tracks. There are so many times where I have gone into a project and all these tracks are not named and I'm thinking, which one is which, what does what's doing where, and I have to solo and unsolo each one until I find the right one I want out. It's just a pain in the ass. But if you rename your tracks, you don't have that problem. You just see the name and you're like, oh yep, that's doing this track, that track's doing that. Yeah, so
Drums lead expanded.
we want a compressor on this lead because the compressor is what's going to link to that ghost track. In other words, sidechain to the ghost track. And every time the ghost track hits, every time the ghost track triggers, which again we won't hear because that track is deactivated, but every time that track triggers, every time a MIDI note is played on that track, it will duck the volume of this lead track. So what are we going to do? Well, it's the same as if you were loading Nexus or any other plugin. You go to your browser with Alt-5.
Browser grouping plugin list 44 items preview Nexus data.
Now, you'll notice we're still in the plugins, which is true because I haven't chosen a new category. So we left arrow out of this.
VFX expanded level 1.
Left arrow again.
Collapsed.
Collapsed.
Browser sidebar preview plugins data items.
We want to be on the sidebar. That's where your audio effects, MIDI effects, plugins, and instruments and things like that, that's where that all lives, on this sidebar. All of that is present on this sidebar. So we want... Sorry, my phone is going off. We want audio effects.
Max for live modulators, MIDI effects data, audio effects data item.
There it is. We go in here.
Audio effects list 47 items preview compressor collapse level 1.
And because I have used the compressor recently, it's already highlighted. But let me go through the effects.
Align delay collapse level 1.
So I can show you what we've got. These are all Ableton's built-in audio effects. We've got align delay,
Amp collapse level 1.
amp,
Audio effect rack collapse level 1.
audio effect rack,
Auto filter collapse level 1.
auto filter. That thing is fun.
Auto pan collapse level 1.
Auto pan,
Auto shift collapse level 1.
auto shift,
Beat repeat collapse level 1.
beat repeat. I haven't messed around with that, so I don't actually know how that one works.
Cabinet collapse level 1.
Cabinet,
Channel collapse level 1.
channel EQ,
Chorus ensemble collapse level 1.
chorus ensemble,
Compressor collapse level 1.
compressor, which is the one we want, but that's the one we want. But I'm gonna continue going down and showing you these effects. You've got tons of them.
Corpus collapse level 1.
Corpus, I don't know what that does.
Delay collapse level 1.
Delay,
Drum bus collapse level 1.
drum bus,
Dynamic tube collapse level 1.
dynamic tube, which I think is another amp sort of thing.
Echo collapse level 1.
Echo,
Envelope follower collapse level 1.
envelope follower,
8 collapse level 1.
8 channel
Egg 3
EQ,
collapse.
3 channel EQ,
Erosion collapse level 1.
erosion,
External audio effect collapse level 1.
external audio effect. So that if you had, I think if you had like an external effects processor, you could set it up in here, and it would be under this external effect.
Filter delay collapse level 1.
Filter delay,
8 collapse level 1.
gate.
Glue compressor collapse.
Glue compressor. That's different from the standard compressor. I don't actually know what glue compressor does because I haven't played with it.
Grain delay collapse level 1.
Grain delay.
Hybrid reverb collapse level 1.
Hybrid reverb. Haven't played with that yet.
LFO collapse level 1.
LFO.
Limiter collapse level 1.
Limiter.
Looper collapse level 1.
Looper.
Multiband dynamics collapse level 1.
Multiband.
Looper multiband dynamics collapse.
Multiband dynamics.
Overdrive collapse level 1.
Overdrive.
Pedal collapse level 1.
Pedal.
Phaser flanger collapse level.
Phaser flanger.
Redux collapse level 1.
Redux. I don't know what that does.
Resonators collapse level.
Resonators.
Reverb collapse level.
Reverb.
Roar collapse level 1.
Raw, which is it's a distortion plugin.
Saturator collapse level 1.
Saturator.
Shaper collapse level 1.
Shaper.
Shifter collapse level 1.
Shifter.
Spectral resonator collapse level.
Spectral resonator.
Spectral time collapse level 1.
Spectral time.
Spectrum collapse level 1.
Spectrum.
Tuner collapse level 1.
Tuner.
Utility collapse level.
Utility.
Vinyl distortion collapse level.
Vinyl distortion. That thing is fun.
Vocoder collapse level 1.
Vocoder. That is also fun. And that is all your effects. I might do a separate tutorial on how to use the vocoder because it is quite fun.
Align delay collapse level 1.
So let's find.
Arm track lead. Disarm track.
Oops, no, we don't want to do that.
Amp audio auto speaker cabinet channel collapse chorus ensemble compressor collapse left.
Compressor. That's what we want. So now that we've got compressor highlighted, you press enter, and there it is. It doesn't say anything, but it is there. In order to see where it is, you have to go into, remember that Alt-4 keystroke for your plugin window? Or for your effect window? Hang on.
Device detail grouping, compressor grouping.
Device detail is what they call it. It's the device view. But now we have the compressor.
Device activator checkbox checked.
Device activator. So again, that's kind of like the track activator. You can activate and it's essentially bypass.
Sidechain toggle checkbox not checked.
Sidechain, which is unchecked, but we want that checked. So you hit enter because remember,
Stop.
space plays. So if you need to check or uncheck boxes, it's enter.
Checked.
Or press buttons, it's enter.
Hot swap presets button.
Hot swap presets. Now this is useful if you are going through presets of like say a reverb or a delay or something like that, because it won't actually change. See, if you don't have this button pressed, and I don't think it tells you.
Browser grouping, audio effects list, 47 items preview, compressor collapse level 1.
Okay, it kicks you out of the.
Device detail grouping, compressor grouping. Device active sidechain hot swap presets button.
Let's turn that off. So it doesn't actually tell you that that button has been activated. Which, I mean, it could easily, they could put a label there, on-off label or something like that. Which would be nice, but it doesn't. So, whatever.
Sidechain toggle checkbox checked. Hot swap.
Hot swap presets, essentially what it does is it lets you audition each effect, because if you don't have it checked, if you don't have hot swap presets on, you can put, and I found this out the hard way with Reverb one day, you can put effect after effect after effect after effect after effect on the same plugin, and eventually you just get a bunch of noise or nothing at all, as is the case with a Reverb. So, if you're going through presets, I highly recommend you check the hot swap presets button.
Save preset button.
Save preset, that's the, if you make a preset, you can save it, kind of like you can in Logic. Well, exactly like you can in Logic, actually. If you make a preset, you can save it.
Toggle external sidechain checkbox not checked.
Now that we want checked because we're using an external source to sidechain this lead.
Checked.
So we want to check external sidechain.
External source combo box no input collapsed.
Now here's where you select your external source. So if I go up and down through this list,
Main, delay, a reverb, 5 audio, 4 audio, ghost.
I find Ghost, there it is.
External tapping point combo box post effects collapsed.
I don't worry about this, it's the external tapping point. You can either go, I leave it on post effects, but you can go
Pre-effects,
pre-effects,
post effects,
post
mixer,
or post mixer.
post effects.
So I leave it on post effects.
Gain slider 0.00 decibels.
That's your gain. I don't mess around with this because it's just fine where it is.
External / internal mix slider 100%.
External / internal mix, I don't mess with.
Toggle sidechain checkbox checked.
Sidechain EQ, because you can EQ your sidechain, but I might actually uncheck this because
Not checked.
I don't use it.
Sidechain X type grouping unavailable. Filter iPass radio button unavailable. Sidechain X frequency slider 80.0 Hz. Sidechain X Q slider 0.71. Sidechain listen checkbox not checked.
Sidechain listen. I'm not actually sure what it does. I think what it does is it listens to the thing you're trying to sidechain. I don't actually know, so I don't check that.
Compression ratio slider 4.001.
This is your ratio. This is where you start getting the important stuff. And T1, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I show you these controls. So the ratio at the moment is set to
Sidechain compression ratio slider 4.001.
4.001. To do sidechaining, you'll want to set that to infinite or inf.
56.10.20.01 inf 1.
Which is all the way at the top. Inf 1. That is as high as you can go.
Attack time slider 1.00 milliseconds.
This is your attack time, so from the time the sidechain hits to the time it comes back up. You can mess around with this and see what sounds best, but I leave it where it is until I get the
release time slider 30.0 milliseconds.
That's your release.
Auto release checkbox not checked. Threshold slider 0.0.
Until I get the threshold set. I was looking for the word.
Auto release time attack time slider 1.00 milliseconds.
So I leave these alone until I get the threshold set. So you've got attack,
release time slider
and release. And then you've got another button.
Auto release checkbox not checked.
Auto release. I haven't mucked around with it. I don't know what it does. But this is the important bit that we want now.
Threshold slider 0.00 decibels.
Threshold. This is how far down the gain is going to drop every time the ghost track hits. And I recommend you play with it because you won't start hearing an effect until around the 20-30 dB mark. And dB, of course, is decibels. So, what I do to make things a bit easier,
minus 1.0, minus 26.0 decibels.
Hold down the arrow keys, down arrow, until I start hearing. So I play the track, and I'm now listening. Sometimes I'll solo the track that I'm working with, so I can hear the sidechain. But I'm now listening for that ducking effect. And in this case, I will
solo track lead.
I can hear a little bit, but not enough. So I drop the threshold down a little further.
Minus 30.0.
Here we go. You hear how it's going. Let's drop the threshold.
Minus 31. Minus 36.
Now it's getting harder. Drop it down a little further.
Minus 41.0 decibels. Stop.
About there should be good, I reckon.
Solo track lead.
So let's hear this with the track, like with the drums. And you'll see what I'm talking about.
Stop.
So now, if you can hear that, it's ducking the volume. So now that I have that set, now I can start playing around with the attack and the release.
Auto release attack time compression ratio slider attack time slider 1.00 milliseconds.
So let's play around with the attack. Play this again, and let's play around with the attack until we get the desired effect.
0.91 milliseconds. 1.00 milliseconds.
Here we go.
1.09 mil. 1.7. 1.2. left 16. Solo track. Solo track. Release time slider 30.0 milliseconds. 27.4.4. Solo track. 3.61 1.0.
A nice quick release.
Solo track lead. Stop.
A little bit of a slower attack and a quicker release. That's a good thing. Alright, so we have that compression set.
Arrangement proven. Track headers preview. Lead expanded left.
We have the compression set. So now let's add a bass to this.
Drums expanded level. Ghost. Deactivated expanded level 1. 4 audio expanded level. Ghost. 4 MIDI expanded level 1. Browser proven. Audio effects list. 65 items preview. Compressor expanded collapse. Browser sidebar preview. MIDI effect modulators data max for plugins data item plugins list. Sound source collapse level 1. Re-effects collapse level 1.
Actually, let's
Browser.
add
Clips data item selected. Plugins and select max modulators data MIDI effects audio effects data instruments data item audio effects data instrument drums sounds data item selected. Drums instruments data item selected. Drums sound all day purple data item all data item selected. All list 1157 items preview. Align delay collapse. Search edit blank. Search in all list 0 items preview. Search edit selected origin. Blank. Blank.
oh, if I could spell.
Blank. Blank. Search in all list 55 items preview. Basic organ based.add data item selected.
Basic organ bass.
Clicky organ based.add data. Decel organ.add data. Devolve organ.add data. Decel clicky basic organ based.
Let's just do this one.
Dialog save changes to tutorial.
Oh.
Tutorial track for Ableton Star. Ableton Live 12 beta. Browser proven. Search in all. Arrangement proven. Track headers preview.
Now, so we've got the organ bass now, and you'll recognize this from, popular tunes, so like, things like that. Anyway, don't want to get copyright strike. So we have an organ bass. So let me press play on the track and see if I can come up with something cool. No, I'm not recording So let's start with, and then go into, that's a cool idea. All right. So, same thing. Oops.
Clip detail grouping. Clip basic.
That's fine.
Select all.
Let's
1/32, 1/16. Quantize.
quantize this.
Save.
And that's what we did.
Stop.
Alright, we got that.
Arrangement group.
Same deal. I'm going to put a sidechain on this organ. But first of all,
Timeline. 8 basic organ base. 8.4.4 plus. Track headers preview. 4 basic organ base.
first of all,
Track title bar edit selected. Blank.
I'm going to rename this and call it House Base.
House base.
There we go.
Browser grouping. Search in all list. 55 items preview. Base browser site. Sounds data items. All data items. Sound drums instrument audio effects. MIDI effects data audio. Search in audio effects list. 0 items preview. Clear search. Compressor collapse level 1.
Compressor. Put that on here.
Device detail grouping. Compressor grouping. Device sidechain toggle checkbox not checked. Checked.
Sidechain.
Hot swap preset.
See, same deal.
Save toggle external source combo box. Toggle external site checked.
External sidechain.
External source main. Deep. 6 audio. 5 off. House base. Ghost.
And anything you want to sidechain, remember, you've got to chain that to the ghost. You have to select the ghost as your input source.
External tap in point combo box. Post effects collapsed.
Post effects.
Gain slider 0. External select slider. Toggle sidechain checkbox checked. Not checked.
We'll uncheck the EQ because we don't.
Sidechain type grouping unavailable. Filter sidechain frequency slider. Sidechain Q slider 0. Sidechain listen checkbox not compression ratio slider 4.001. 5.00. 20.0. 1.
Go all the way up to infinite with the ratio.
Attack time slider 1.00 milliseconds. Release time slider 30.0 milliseconds. Auto threshold slider 0. Auto release time slider 6.32 milliseconds. 5.30 milliseconds. 6.7.46 milliseconds. 8.10.1 milliseconds. Auto threshold slider 0.00 decibels. Minus 1.0. Minus 22.0.
Threshold.
Play. Minus 23. Minus 50.0 decibels. Minus 40. Minus 45. Solo track of space. Solo track of space. Stop.
And it's as easy as that.
Arrangement grouping. Track headers preview. House timeline. 8.4 point. Start basic. Play.
So now we have this. Bit of a mistake there, but that kind of sounded cool. Can't believe it.
Stop.
And that is how you do sidechaining. Very, very, very simple. It's actually more simpler than Logic. That is also how you record and quantize. So this tutorial is a bit of a shorter one, and I know I didn't say much because I was concentrating. So let's go over what we just did. We recorded the drums by finding the sound, again, Alt 5 for your browser or Command 5 if you're on Mac. But as I said at the start of the series, it's going to be in Windows because that's what I use. Alt 5 for your browser, go down to your plugins list, find ReFX or whatever your plugin is, expand that view, find the plugin name, press enter on it, and it loads it. Then go through until you find your sound, however you may do that in your chosen plugin. I'm using Nexus. Find your sound. You can Alt F4 out of the browser window, then Alt 2 goes back to your timeline, to your arrangement view.
Save live set.
Which is what you'll want, because all your recording and arrangement is done in the arrangement view. Then make sure you're at the beginning. If you're on the track headers, press escape to go to the timeline. Make sure it's at the beginning or wherever it is you want to record. So at the position you want to record at, press F9 if you don't own a complete control keyboard to record to arrangement, or you press the record button on the complete control keyboard, and you should have it set to 2-bar count in, because we set that at the start. 2-bar count in. Record what you want. After you're done, press the stop button. Space on your keyboard, space on a computer keyboard. The stop button on the complete control keyboard. Alt 3 goes to your MIDI editor. You choose, if you have fixed grid on, with Control 5, just make sure.
Fixed grid off, fixed grid on, 1/6.
Yep, Control 5 is fixed grid, on off. Turn fixed grid on. Select all. If you're in the MIDI editor, select all, and with Control A or Command A, Control A for Windows. Control U for quantizing after you've selected your grid value. Once that's done, you have recorded and quantized to the track. If you want a compressor, go again to the browser with Alt 5, left arrow until you get to the browser sidebar, find audio effects, go down until you find compressor, press enter, then Command 4 to go into the device view and tab through all the different options. You'll want to set the button that says external sidechain, you'll want that set. Oh, you've got to record your ghost first. So record your ghost, quantize it, then deactivate the ghost track. You don't have to select a different output, You don't have to select the sends only, you just deactivate it. Because remember, activating, you hear it. Deactivated, you don't. So you deactivate that track. Once it's been recorded and quantized and all is said and done, you deactivate that track. Then you go in and select your compressor. You check, so you enter on the checkbox that says external sidechain if it's not checked. If it's not checked, you press enter. If it is, leave it. You check that box, go down to external source. Make sure you name your tracks. So call your ghost track, and so on and so forth. If you've named it ghost, select that source in the external source combo box list. Select that source. It is now set to sidechain on the ghost track, so every time it hits, the volume dies down like that. That was just an example, a very poor example, but an example nonetheless. After you've got that selected, after you've got your source set, and your ghost is, you've got everything set up correctly in sidechaining, adjust your ratio to infinite right at the top, or inf, INF. Go down to your attack, set that to where you want it, and your release to do the same thing. Then you find your threshold slider and drop that as low as you want it, and you should be able to start hearing the effect around, I'd say around the 10 to 20 dB mark. You should really start to hear it. So play around with that. When you have it set, then that's your sidechain done. And then you can move on to making, or putting other instruments in, or if you're done,
save live set.
you know, there's your track done. So that is a basic tutorial on how to deal with sidechaining and recording and quantization.
Ops 30.1.2. Stop recording.
And this video was a little bit over the place today because, you know, it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing, and I thought I'd get it done, and I'm trying to do it quickly and efficiently, so I was a bit over the place, and I'm sorry about that. But that is the second tutorial in this series on recording and quantization, as well as sidechaining. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.